Welcome to our first music theory lesson, guys. Today we're going to talk all about the staff. Now, the reason the staff is important is because it's going to be how we're going to reflect all of the scales and the intervals and all the harmonic and melodic concepts that we're going to be covering in these music theory lessons will be represented on the staff. So it's important to know the names of the notes on the lines and the spaces. We're going to talk about the treble clef today, and you know, a lot of people think it's not important to learn to read music. I don't expect you guys to become sight readers or anything after this. Purely this lesson, we're just going to be learning how to read and express notes on the staff. Okay, so jumping right in, the treble clef is going to look a little bit like this, for lack of a better drawing. And there's a lot of different kinds of clefs. So this is the treble clef. You may also have seen the bass clef, for example. And all a clef is just a musical symbol used to indicate the pitch of a written note. So for example, the notes are actually going to be different on the lines and spaces on the treble clef than they would be on the bass clef. And the reason for this is that different instruments need different harmonic ranges, right? So just, we'll go over this more in depth, but for example, so you can kind of see what I mean, C on the treble clef lives right here on the second space, and C on the bass clef actually lives down here on the third space. So we'll get more in depth into that in a future lesson, but for now, let's just talk about the treble clef, because this is where all of our goodies are going to be. So first things first, let's look at the staff. What do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, which leaves us as 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay? 5 lines, 4 spaces. Infinite possibilities. Amazing. So let's just look at these spaces first. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, correct? And now let's look at the notes here. This is actually really fun. Check us out. We have F, A, C, and E, which spells out the word face. So that's awfully convenient to remember. Now if we move on to, let's go to the second line here, and let's move on to the lines. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, right? And now let's go and name these notes. Here we have E, here we have G, next is B, and then we got D, then we have a good old F. Now you may have heard this phrase 100 times, but the best way to remember this for me has always been every good boy deserves fudge, or every good boy deserves fun. I like fudge, so personally, I'm going to go with fudge. Let's go with fudge there. Now, this is going to be a good thing to memorize, and you may notice, well, I really only have an octave, E to E here, right? If I said the chromatic notes now, if I rewrote this so we can see all of them, let's get rid of these two. Say I wanted to write out my whole staff and cover it up now. We have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F, right? Let me put those names of the notes below it just so you can see. Now, a lot of music is going to actually exist beyond the 5 lines and 4 spaces of our staff. So, what we're going to do is we're going to use something called ledger lines. So for example, say I'm going to take this F down here, okay? Say I'm on F right here, right? I go up another half step to G. Now what happens if I want to play A? I can't just draw a floating note, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another imaginary line, and this is actually called a ledger line, and this will give me A. Now I'm going to do B. I will do the same thing. I will put it on top of the line, which kind of you envision this as another imaginary space, right? Now I want to go up to C, so I'm going to draw 2 lines, right? I could go all the way up to D if I wanted to. Or let's have as much fun as we can. Let's go up to E, right? Don't let this actual staff confuse you. It's just a little tight on this board. Now, let's just write the notes in so you guys can see. We have F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. Now, check this out. Same way the ledger lines go up, we can actually go down with the ledger lines. So let's start here on E. Okay, I go down a half step to D. Now check this out. I'm going to do one ledger line below the staff for my C. Okay, I'm going to do it again for B, but I'm going to go on the space. Alrighty, now we can keep going. We can go all the way down to A. We can keep going down to G. We can go all the way down to F, which is 3 on the line, and then we can go down to the lowest E, which is like that. And this is actually the low E on the guitar. Your open low E string, that's going to be your pitch. So let's put these note names in. Here again we have backwards, we have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. Now, here we have the entire staff reflected with the lines and the spaces, and then when we used ledger lines down here, we were able to expand our octaves up and our octaves below, meaning anything in the lower register or the upper register outside of our friendly old staff. And this is kind of the basics of our treble clef. So as a good exercise for those of you at home who want to practice your note recognition, I'll just go through and I'll just throw down some random notes here on the staff, and then I'll have myself go back and name the notes. So if you're struggling with this, always remember first, lines and spaces. Is this note on a line or a space? This note is on a line, and I know every good boy deserves fudge, every good boy. Boom, B for boy. Now this is on a space, and we remember F-A-C-E, face was our spaces, and it's funny because face and space actually rhyme. So F-A-C-E, boom, there's my E. Here we go, F for face, right? Another one on a space, and this is F-A for face, and then we have every good boy deserves fudge on the line, and that's an F. So, the more you kind of work out and practice with this, the better, the quicker it'll start coming to you. Highly recommend working on it as consistently as possible because it will deliver the quickest results. Maybe go through online and find a sheet of music that you can just go through and analyze the notes. Don't worry about sharps or flats right now. If something looks like this, or something looks like that, don't worry about any of that stuff right now. Just worry about saying, okay, this is A, this is F, this is some kind of E, this is some kind of B. And it's really, really useful for you to it's really useful for you to practice physically writing this stuff out. So I definitely recommend printing out some sheet music blank sheet music online and just using a pen or a pencil to kind of go through this and try it. So there we go, we learned about the treble clef today. I love music theory, I know you do too, and I'll see you guys next time.